Something you long believed to be true but realized wasn't.
Well, as one of the main opponents of the Illuminati, I always wanted to know what information they had that we didn't.
Now we finally have an update on the drowning death of Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Now, according to ABC7, they stated that Malcolm-Jamal Warner had drowned while he was on vacation in Costa Rica. Now, the article goes on to say that Warner had drowned off the coast of Costa Rica on Sunday.
Life, it's fragile, and in the blink of an eye,
You never know.
you never know. So speaking of legacy, what do you hope that your legacy is going to be?
There is part of me that I will be able to leave this earth, knowing and people knowing that I was a good person.
Katt Williams has been warning for years that Hollywood has a nasty way of shutting out anyone who refuses to play by their rules, especially if you're a black man in the spotlight. And when you take a hard look at the late Malcolm-Jamal Warner's career, those warnings start to hit different. Malcolm wasn't chasing cheap fame. He turned down roles that made black men look like a joke, and he never played into that humiliating put on a dress and act goofy routine that the industry loves to push. Because of that, Hollywood pushed him to the sidelines. Not because he lacked talent, because let's be real, his skills were undeniable.
I've spent, so much of the early part of my life listening to, being celebrated on one hand, but paying way too much attention to the naysayers.
But simply because he didn't fall in line. And here's the wild part. Now that he's gone, suddenly every media outlet and big-name celeb is calling him a legend, flooding timelines with love, saying he was so underrated. But hold up, where was all that energy when he was still here, grinding and creating on his own terms? Where were the flowers when he could actually smell them? The sad truth is, this ain't about random conspiracy talk. It's about patterns that keep repeating in plain sight. Katt Williams has been shouting about this for ages, exposing the shady way the industry treats people who dare to say no to playing the clown role. So let's dig in. What exactly has Katt been exposing? What did Malcolm really stand for? And why did the industry wait until after his death to finally shower him with the respect he deserved?
These are the first things we saw when we pulled up to the beach. Signs in Spanish and English warning people about potentially hazardous conditions. This sign even giving a roadmap for how to escape a rip current.
Malcolm-Jamal Warner, the man we all knew as Theo Huxtable from The Cosby Show, tragically passed away on July 20th, 2025. And the details are heartbreaking. Malcolm was in Lyman, Costa Rica, on a family getaway, enjoying the ocean with his 8-year-old daughter when disaster struck. A deadly rip current pulled them both under. This stretch of beach is infamous for dangerous waters and barely ever has lifeguards on duty. On that day, resources had been shifted to other beaches after a string of recent incidents, leaving this one completely unprotected. Witnesses say surfers nearby spotted the father and daughter fighting the waves. One brave surfer managed to pull Malcolm's little girl to safety, while another risked it all going after Malcolm himself. But by the time first responders rushed to the scene, it was too late. Resuscitation efforts failed, and Malcolm's life was gone.
Rican Beach, where officials say a dangerous rip current swept away Malcolm-Jamal Warner. The Cosby Show star drowning in secluded paradise on Sunday.
What makes that beach so treacherous?
It's similar to other beaches where there are strong rip currents that are deceiving.
Mike Geist helps run a volunteer lifeguard organization here. He says while no lifeguards were on duty that day, Geist's friend, who happens to be a trained lifeguard, was there to surf and discovered Warner unresponsive in the water. Costa Rica's Red Cross says they were able to rescue another man alive who was taken to a clinic in critical condition.
Rica, Jesse, officials say Warner's autopsy is now complete.
It was completed this morning, according to authorities, Tom, and they say that it confirmed that Warner's drowning death was, in fact, an accident.
His official autopsy later confirmed the cause, death by asphyxia from drowning. Even the surfer who tried to save him ended up hospitalized in critical condition after the attempt. And that's why this loss hit so heavy. Malcolm wasn't your typical Hollywood child star. He didn't spiral, he didn't sell out, he kept his dignity intact and carved his own path without ever compromising who he was. To see his life cut short in such a devastating accident has left fans and Hollywood alike shaken to the core. Malcolm wasn't just an actor, he was the blueprint of success. A self-made multimillionaire, Emmy-nominated actor, Grammy-winning musician, acclaimed poet, director, and even a respected social activist. On top of all that, he had something Hollywood rarely shows us anymore, a stable, drama-free family life.
So even before conception, we were very clear we were having a girl. And I knew that I needed a girl first to kind of ease me into it, because I have a pretty good idea of what kind of father I would be. So I needed a girl to kind of, slow me down and warm, soften me up, if you will. So for me, raising my daughter, I came into fatherhood already with a certain maturity and certain understanding of male-female dynamics. And with a girl, all of that starts with the father. So I've always, since I literally pulled her out of my wife.
Married once, never divorced, no messy scandals, no kids out of wedlock. He was a devoted husband and father, standing tall as a man who lived exactly how he preached. People who worked with Malcolm will tell you he was universally respected, beloved, and admired. He moved through life as a secure man who knew his worth and refused to bend for Hollywood's tricks. And then, out of nowhere, he dies in a freak accident at just 54 years old during a dream vacation in literal paradise with his family. The tragedy is unbearable, but the truth is, Malcolm didn't just live, he thrived. He left behind a blueprint of what it looks like to live with integrity and class. But here's the part no one wants to talk about. Hollywood ghosted him while he was alive. Katt Williams has been hollering about this forever, and now his words line up perfectly with Malcolm's story. See, Malcolm didn't fall off, he simply refused to play Hollywood's dirty little game. After The Cosby Show, he could have easily cashed in with loud sitcoms, slapstick roles, and blockbuster comedies. Instead, he stayed intentional, low-key, and real.
There has never been a person that has been parodied 9 times on Saturday Night Live and yet never been invited other than me. I, at this point, take it as a badge of honor that they don't fuck with me. A lot of times when people are doing an impression of you, they're really showing you how they feel about you. You know what I mean? So for Saturday Night Live to have an impression of me and have a woman do that means they think I'm a bitch. And I understand that that's what they're saying when they do that. I understand how the game goes, and I understand that if you love me, I know why you do. And if you don't with me, I understand why.
He flat out rejected roles that made black men look foolish. No wigs, no clown acts, no embarrassing stereotypes. He wanted to represent something deeper, something authentic. And this is exactly where Katt Williams comes storming in. He's been screaming on stages, in interviews, and on podcasts for years, warning how black entertainers get boxed in. Hollywood tells them, play the character or get pushed aside. And Malcolm chose to stand tall, even if it meant getting sidelined.
For the title is combating the narrative of black life, black culture that the media focuses on. And
that we're all one thing.
Yeah, and the whole concept is, we're not all hood. The black community is not a monolith.
Katt Williams turned down those same humiliating roles, suits, wigs, loud buffoonery. And what did Hollywood do? They branded him difficult, crazy, and unreliable. That's the punishment when you refuse to play the clown for the cameras. Malcolm-Jamal Warner faced the same wall. He was talented, disciplined, and razor sharp. But because he didn't fit Hollywood's formula and wouldn't coon himself out for cheap laughs, they benched him. But here's the thing. Malcolm didn't lose sleep over Hollywood's approval. He carved his own lane, creating a podcast called Not All Hood, where he directly challenged how mainstream media stereotypes black people as one flat, monolithic image. That was Malcolm, always fearless, always pushing for truth.
There should be a moratorium on both of those words in hip hop because it's low-lying fruit. It's so easy. Everybody fucking does it to the point that it's corny. Like there are MCs who I love, who I cannot listen to anymore because I love J. Cole. But I had to stop listening to J. Cole because I got tired of hearing nigga and bitch.
as much
every
as
two sentences, because he's proven himself to be such a incredible lyricist.
that you think it's just too low-hanging fruit for him to use those words.
I feel like
Instead of bowing down, Malcolm put his energy into projects with real weight. He produced and acted in plays and documentaries about Black history, systemic racism, and social justice. He wasn't chasing empty fame. He was building a legacy with purpose. And in 2021, Malcolm shook the table with an op-ed for the Television Academy, calling it out plain and simple. White network execs, white producers, and white directors are still the gatekeepers of how Black people are portrayed on TV. He wrote that even when those gate hinges loosen just a little and Black creatives get the illusion of control, the stereotypes don't disappear. They just get dressed up in fancier jobs and bigger paychecks, same poison, prettier packaging. Malcolm didn't stop there. He even spoke out against the state of modern rap and hip-hop, calling out misogyny, toxic masculinity, and demanding accountability.
Drake beef, which, you know, they talk about how much they hate each other and give all these references to violence and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think, even though we enjoy those songs and they're bops, do you think that has a detrimental impact upon the culture ultimately?
Ultimately, yes. It's been normalized for, you know, us to call ourselves the N-word, right? And we like to talk about how we've taken the power of that word back. But I'm of the school of thought. If I'm trying to speak love and upliftment to my brother, why am I going to borrow a word from people who use the word because they hate me? But we get caught up in, oh, well, we're turning the N-word into a positive. But our music is not reflecting positivity, love, and upliftment of our culture. And we're at a point now where so much of our, especially our music, so much of our Black music, when you strip away the music and just listen to the lyrics, so much of our Black music is really anti-Black.
Oh, you think so?
When you think about it, think of, you know, I mean, you almost cannot have hip hop without talking about drugs, using the N-word, and murking somebody,
right?
You know, or calling a female, you know, a bitch or a hoe. Like that's become such we've normalized that so much that I think we need a space where we can say, wait a minute, wait, that's not all who we are.
While others stayed quiet to protect their careers, Malcolm was pushing for healing and respect in the community. He wasn't afraid to say what everyone else whispered about, and Hollywood hated him for it. So when Katt Williams says the industry only lifts you up if they can control your image, Malcolm-Jamal Warner's story is the perfect example. Malcolm wanted to show Black men as intelligent, layered, and fully human. Not just jokes or background filler, but the machine wanted him stuck in that teen heartthrob box forever. Or worse, clowning in goofy side roles that stripped away all dignity. Malcolm pushed back. He said no to roles that could have made him way more famous, but way less respected. Meanwhile, plenty of other Black actors in his era blew up by doing the exact opposite, leaning into tired stereotypes, playing caricatures, chasing the big checks. And sure, some of them turned it into stardom, but Malcolm wasn't built like that, and he refused to sell his soul for Hollywood scraps. And it came with a cost. In interviews, Malcolm even admitted his own team told him he was too serious, not marketable enough. Translation, too Black, too smart, too principled for their agenda. And once he refused to play the fool, the calls stopped coming. Just like Katt Williams has been screaming for years, if you won't bow down to the humiliation rituals, they erase you. But here's the cruel irony. Now that Malcolm is gone, Hollywood suddenly wants to flood the feeds with tributes. Now he's a legend. Now he's a pioneer. Now the same machine that ghosted him is showering him with flowers he'll never see. Social media posts, glossy articles, heartfelt tributes. But where was all this love when he was alive and still fighting to be seen? Because Malcolm refused to chase empty fame or bow to Hollywood's traps. The big platforms and award shows mostly acted like he didn't exist. But now, suddenly, streaming services are hyping up unreleased projects tied to his name, networks are rolling out glossy tributes, and celebrities are flooding social media with emotional posts and stories. Overnight, he's been turned into the safe Black icon they can all rally around. And that right there is the industry's playbook. They don't lift you up for standing firm, staying principled, or keeping it real while you're alive. They wait until it's safe, until you're gone, and then they repackage your image for brand building, woke points, and profit.
care how people feel about the ritual. It's about just following the ritual work.
Yeah.
And so you can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear. So like when I be like, oh, these guys are wearing dresses. Everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, it's not.
That is a weird thing.
It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully.
Katt Williams called this out years ago. The system only acknowledges black talent when it fits the narrative and when the person isn't here anymore to push back. So ask yourself, are we really seeing genuine respect for Malcolm-Jamal Warner, or just another Hollywood cleanup job after the fact? The truth is, Malcolm's refusal to sell out made him a target. He was sidelined, erased, and overlooked, not because he lacked talent, but because he wouldn't compromise his principles. Malcolm wasn't just another celebrity. He was rare, grounded, thoughtful, and committed to his values in an industry that constantly rewards the opposite. His tragic death isn't just a personal loss. It's a chilling reminder of how rare it is to see someone in Hollywood move with real integrity. But now it's over to you. Do you think Malcolm was pushed aside for refusing to play along? And why does it always take a death for the industry to suddenly start caring? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, share this video with your people, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We've got more raw truth coming your way.